Okay, there we go.
So Elvis and his band members were traveling west from Memphis, which is in that direction. They were headed east toward Little Rock. When they got to this intersection right here, my grandfather's dump truck was driving south on Highway 13 and had already pulled out about midway into the intersection when Elvis hit the truck broadside. Elvis's car then sort of careened over to the right and landed in a shallow ditch right there across I-70 right there at the intersection.
Is it on this side of the intersection by that church?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. It's where it's been paved. It's been paved over there with the concrete, but it was right in there close to where that telephone pole and the concrete sidewalk is about. That was not there in '55. It was just a shallow ditch, and his vehicle, the Lincoln Continental, landed in that little shallow ditch area near the intersection on the north side of the highway, I-70.
And then from what I'd gathered so far, Mr. Godare was I guess the sheriff or the policeman. And
he was at the time. He came, of course, to investigate and determine that Elvis was traveling at an excessive rate of speed because he was in the town limit. I imagine the speed limit was probably 30 or 35 miles per hour, and I'm sure that Elvis, he had been traveling, the speed limit on the highway then was 60, so he probably didn't slow down to maybe 50 or somewhere or thereabouts. So he was traveling at a high rate of speed through the city limits when he hit the dump truck broadside.
And this was prior to the interstate, so this was the main...
This was the main artery from Memphis to Little Rock, and there was a lot more traffic, obviously, on this highway then, as it's been replaced by Interstate 40, and so there's not a great deal of traffic, mostly local traffic here on I-70 now, but in '55 it was the main artery between Memphis and Little Rock.
And after the court proceeding, you came back down here right after the court was over with?
I did, and that's when I saw Elvis's car over there in that shallow ditch, and then of course immediately after the proceeding, though, he and his band members got in the car. Their car was not seriously damaged. I think it had some minor damage to the fender, but it was certainly not so damaged that they weren't able to drive it. So once they got the bass fiddle back on top of the rack, then they were on their way toward Little Rock.
Was the dump truck, was it damaged very much?
The only real damage to the dump truck was it punctured the gas tank. And so the $25 basically was to cover either repairing the tank or purchasing a new tank. That was essentially what the damage was to the dump truck.
And you can put the rumor to rest that check's still not floating around somewhere now.
No, that check was that was payable to my grandfather. You have to remember that in 1955, $25 was a lot more than it is today. $25 was a substantial amount, and so my grandfather, he cashed that check within days because he wanted to make sure that there was still money in Elvis's account to cover it.
There you go.